Okay, so this next video, in the previous video we talked about artillery. In this video we're going to talk about mortars, how they work, how you can use them to your advantage. Mortars are kind of unique because they are still considered as artillery. They are a bit different, however. And then the way that is they're shorter range. They're also faster at firing. Not only that, but they're very accurate. Look how small this is, right? This is a very small in her accuracy. Now the Paladin is also a very accurate artillery piece, but most artillery pieces aren't as accurate as the Paladin is. Um, but for these mortars, they can fire very quickly. Watch how fast they can fire off their rounds. Here we go. They start loading up their rounds. There you go. And just like that, fast, quick, cheap, easy artillery to get onto the field in a pinch. They're great at suppressing tanks and panicking them. They're great at suppressing infantry and stunning them, and they're great at stunning lighter vehicles as well. One of the greatest things to use these guys for is quick attack. So if you're about to make an attack, these guys are really quick to use. Just like normal artillery, however, you should always move them after firing, especially considering that mortars are a high priority target. You should always constantly keep moving them after attacking. Another cool thing about these guys is they fire smoke off even faster than normal artillery as well, and they get it there much quicker. You can even queue up the smoke commands as well. So I want to queue up a wall of smoke. Notice how fast they can fire out smoke? And bear in mind, these guys make a lot of noise. Unlike heavy artillery, all the way back here at the back side of the map, that might be firing. These guys make a lot of sound very quickly. Another unique trait of the mortar is you can fire multiple barrages of either smoke or high explosives without having to move these guys. So, and the reason why is if you're going to use long range artillery against them as a counter arty, it's going to take it a bit of time before it can get there. So these guys can get off a good 2, maybe 3 barrages off before the first round even lands on these guys. And even after all that, you can select your move fast option and add it to the queue of attacks that you just made in one spot to move it away. So as soon as this smoke wall is complete, which I believe is this is the last one, as soon as it's done, they're going to move out. And there they go. They are already moving. I didn't even have to right click to where I wanted them to go normally. They just went there on their own because I queued up an order for them to do that. And there you go. You can make a smoke wall with them very quickly. The great thing about these, another great thing about these guys, which is like the great thing is, because that implies that's the only good thing about these guys. Another great thing about these guys is, not particularly this artillery unit specifically, but there are ones that are on wheels that aren't tracked, because these can detract. But the wheeled artillery, wheeled mortars, they are actually pretty good at driving through thick forests like this. So if you wanted to fire from the concealment and safety of a forest in close quarters, so let's say your target's over here and you're right here, so you're trying to fire on position here from right here, you can do that because these guys can get away and out of the forest very quickly. That's one of the other beauties about mortars that most people seem to neglect about these guys. Mortars are very useful. Unlike artillery pieces like this paladin over here, paladins you can use in groups of one. They're what I refer to as sniper artillery. They're highly accurate, and they do a decent amount of explosive damage to a very small area. But artillery, such as mortars, they're high accuracy at lower range. They fire faster as well. Um, but uh, the problem with them is you kind of have to stack them in order to actually get a really good benefit out of them. You should have no less than 2 in a group, otherwise it's just not worth bringing them out. So just try to remember to keep at least 2. 3 is pretty good. 4 is obviously optimal, but 3 is actually a good number, and is what I would estimate is probably the best. These ones are 40.1s from the US deck. There's a 30.1 that has 1 less HE power that has wheels. That's the LAV version, and that one's really good through forests. These guys not so much because they can get detract. Heck, they can just get detract from these dense forests that are what should be called hedges. Um, Normandy 44 calls them hedges, but oh wait, it does actually call it that. Dense hedged farmland. Okay, cool. Never mind. Used to, from what I remember, used to call it dense forest. But anyway, um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for mortars, and how to use them, uh, and ways that you could use them for. So hopefully that helps a little bit with the general introduction with mortars and how to use them. And see you in the next one.